Welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, I'm Dani, and I'm truly excited for today's video because I am collaborating with another one of my friends here on YouTube, Paula from With a Touch of Luxury. I really enjoy watching her content, so definitely go ahead and follow her. Now, I am responsible for all my purchases, but just saying, I have been influenced a number of times by Paula to buy certain bags, and that's because she talks about some of her bags so passionately, and I have gone ahead and purchased a Coach nylon swinger because of her love for her Prada nylon re-edition. I've also went ahead and bought some Celine bags because Paula is very passionate about Celine. Other than this being a collaboration video, we are also going to make it a tag video. So the topic of the video is frugal habits of a luxury lover. So what are the things we don't buy despite the fact that we know how to spend money? This idea came about because Paula put up this video over here where she talked about the things that she does indulge in. And in that video she asked, do you want to hear about things that I don't buy? And I was like, yes, I do. Tell me, but let's do it together. So after you finish watching my video, definitely go ahead and watch Paula's video. I'm going to link it in the description box below. And also check out the description box below if you are a YouTuber to see whether I've tagged you or not as well. So I have created a list on my phone and there are at least 45 items here. But before I go into that detail, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is the primary reason why I can afford luxury. Primarily, the reason I can afford luxury is, okay, so firstly, I have to thank my parents. Now, I'm pretty sure my parents are going to be watching this video, and if I don't credit them, I'm sure I'm going to get a phone call after this video. And my parents weren't rich kids. They worked so hard to make sure that I had a good start in life. And they essentially worked so hard, saved really hard to make sure that I had a good start to my working career. They essentially sponsored my entire life leading up to the day that I started working. And this meant that I essentially started my working career completely debt-free. And I know that not everyone is in that position or has been in that position. So from the bottom of my heart, mom and dad, thank you so much for giving me a leg up in life. The secondary reason I can afford luxury is actually my job. I have been working for a long time. I've been working for something like 15 years and I do hold a very senior position in a very large organization. And you know, people talk about, oh, you know, if you want to have financial freedom, you're not going to do it working for a corporate company, climbing the corporate ladder, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was one of those who actually climbed that ladder and sitting in a fairly senior position now. Is that something I would have repeated if I could do it all again? I'm not really sure. I'm like Gen X, Gen Y, and I find like the Gen Z seem to have quite a lot of it together when it comes to personal finance. Some of them much better than I do. Okay, so now that I have that out of the way, let's move on to more light-hearted things. There was a stage where I was a huge fan of minimalism, and I think that was because my daughter was still fairly young and there was just so much stuff in the house. Babies can really consume space and they still do as kids, and I think as teenage kids they probably get worse. I was very overwhelmed at the time and I was watching all these minimalism channels, and I like the idea of owning not too much stuff or just enough stuff so that my house could look at least clean and tidy. And it also meant that, you know, if I didn't spend all my money, I could be saving for other things that I love, like luxury handbags. And you know, there's so many lists out there saying, oh, 50 things I don't buy, 25 things I don't buy, blah, blah, blah. So I was watching all those videos and it shocked me what people actually bought, because I was like, well, I either haven't bought that for years or I've never even considered buying that. And the first thing I'm going to mention came out a lot in these lists, and it is bottled water. I was like, who buys bottled water? I didn't even realize people bought bottled water regularly. I was just stunned hearing how many times bottled water came out on this list, because you can get water for free. And it's not that I've never bought bottled water. Sure, sometimes when I've ran out of water or I can't find a water refiller somewhere, if I think of how many times a year I buy bottled water, that would be maybe definitely under 5 times a year. But it really blew my mind how people had bottled water at home and they drank that bottled water. Typically what I would do is I would either boil the water or put it through a filter. Maybe I've misunderstood. If I've missed something, please leave me a comment so that, you know, I can be educated. The next thing that I don't spend money on, and this is a huge one, is cigarettes. No one needs a lecture on that, and it is very, very expensive. There was one year I went and looked it up because I was trying to justify buying a handbag. And that was a couple of years ago, perhaps 2020 or 2021. That time it cost 12,000 Australian dollars per year to smoke 1 pack of cigarettes a day. So 20 cigarettes a day would cost 12,000 Australian dollars. At that time, that would have been like a Chanel Classic Flap or a big chunk of a Birkin. In the most recent data, it cost 40 Australian dollars to smoke a pack of 20 cigarettes per day. And if you times that by 356, it's 14,240 Australian dollars per year if I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. Well, I guess if you smoke, that's the opportunity cost there for us. The other thing that I don't spend on is subscriptions. I do only pay for professional subscription and my health sort of my dance studio membership fee, I guess. You know, I don't have any YouTube subscriptions. My husband subscribes to Disney and Netflix and so on and so forth. Every once in a while, I may watch a program on there. But to be honest, if my husband wasn't subscribed to those, I wouldn't be subscribed to them. I seriously have no time to be watching movies and series. And I will share a hack with you though. Sometimes there are some series that I really want to watch and my husband's not subscribed to those platforms. For example, And Just Like That, and also House of Dragon. Those were the two series that I really wanted to watch. But in Australia, you had to be subscribed to Binge. So there is a small hack to that. A lot of these platforms will offer like a free 10-day subscription or something along those lines. So I essentially waited for the entire series to be published on the platforms, and then I batch watched them in that free trial period and then discontinued the subscription as soon as I finished watching them. Now, of course, I learned that House of Dragons, there is going to be more series. So if I want to watch the sequential series, I'm going to have to, you know, pay for like a 1-month subscription to watch the whole series. But similarly, I'm going to wait till all the episodes are released. Yes, I do think that paying $10 to watch that series is absolutely worth it. If you're going to try this, you have to remember to discontinue the subscription once you're done with it. The next thing is makeup. I have not bought makeup for so many years, maybe 2 or 3 years that I last bought makeup. If you follow my channel, you know that I mostly just wear sunscreen. So I do spend money on sunscreen. I do have different sunscreens for different parts of my face, my eyes. At one stage, used to buy mascara, but now that I've got these magnetic eyelashes that I use in all of my videos, all of my sit-down videos anyway, I haven't had to buy mascaras at all, and obviously I don't need any eyelash extensions at all. I mean, sure, I have like eyebrow pencil, but at the moment I have only 2 eyebrow pencils that I haven't finished using. I have a few palettes of eyeshadows and a few palettes of blush. With my lippy, at one stage I was makeup obsessed and I used to buy so many lippies, and I'm still using that from years and years ago. I do buy SPF lippies, and I only wear regular lip gloss or lipsticks at home when I'm indoors or at night. During the daytime, I only wear SPF lip products. If you're interested in magnetic lashes and how to put them on, I do have an instructional video on my channel, which was the video that went viral. I will link that in the description box below. Sorry, Pula, but they are candles. Pula loves candles. I don't pay for candles, not really. It's not that I don't appreciate candles. In the past, sure, I did buy 1 or 2 candles here or there. At the most, I maybe have 2 candles around the house, and I would never repurchase a candle unless I finish using it. For special events like Christmas and birthdays, I do receive candles as gifts, and I completely appreciate those, but I can't use them up that quickly. So I've never had to buy candles probably for the last 5 or 6 years now. Continuing with the theme of things smelling nice, I don't buy perfume anymore. I have perfume from probably 20 years ago, you know, maybe 15 years ago even, but I haven't finished using them. So I think I still have about 5 or 6 bottles of perfume that I'm trying to get through until I finish them. I don't know, I think even after I finish them, I probably won't purchase them anymore. I am getting older and my skin is getting more sensitive, and I follow this dermatologist, Dr. Dre, and perfume is alcohol essentially, and that can be very drying or irritating, especially if your skin's very sensitive. Usually if I wear perfume, instead of spraying it directly on my skin, I put it on my clothes so that it's not in contact with my skin. I talked about alcohol in perfume. I actually don't drink any alcohol. When I was younger, maybe I had, you know, some cocktail drinks here and there, but I never enjoyed it. And I just felt like, well, there's a lot of calories. It's calories that I don't appreciate, so why drink it? Just leave it. I'm saving like my liver from working harder. I'm saving my brain and my nerve cells, so why don't I just skip the alcohol and like save this whole bunch of money and put it towards things that I love, like luxury handbags. And while we are talking about drinks, when I go to a restaurant, I usually just ask for table water. I'll have my food and then I'll have table water. I guess I would only ever ask for a special drink like maybe sparkling water if I was standing at a social event and I felt like I needed my hands to be a little bit busy and I needed to hold a glass in my hand or something fancy in my hand to go in my outfit. then maybe, yeah, I might splurge a little bit on some sort of carbonated 0-calorie drink. Because that's the other thing that I don't like. I don't like carbonated drinks. They just make me burp, and they make you, you know, pass more wind as well. And they're usually really sweet and full of calories. And again, I'm not having a go at calories in drinks or alcohol or whatever it is, because trust me, I do love eating food that's like oily, and I like eating pork fat. Ice cream, and I love my cakes. Oh my god, give me a cheesecake. But that's how I think about things. Consume it if you enjoy it. But when it stops being enjoyable, like, just stop. Just stop paying money for it. The next thing is clothes. Now, I do already have a lot of clothes, and that's probably one reason why I've been able to say, well, you really have enough clothes. And in the last 2 years, handbags have sparked a lot more joy than clothes for me. The other reason is, years and years ago, I used to buy a lot of clothes because, you know, I didn't have a baby. I didn't have a daughter, and my shape and size was, you know, pretty much standard. It was easy to order online from certain brands because I knew what sizes I would take. Since I've had a baby and then there was a pandemic, my body shape has changed. The brands that used to fit me don't really fit me anymore, and I would receive clothes that don't really fit and that irritated me. And also, since I've had my daughter, sure, I try and exercise, but I'm not as consistent as I used to be, so my body shape kind of changes. Plus, I have to participate in a lot of activity where I have to be climbing or crawling. Can't be wearing lots and lots of like pretty clothing that I consider flattering. So, you know, a v-neck that's a bit low, like if you're bending over, sometimes you get compromised, or I get compromised. And I certainly can't be wearing sort of short skirts, or even mid-length skirts can be really difficult to crawl in or to climb up a spider web in. So for many years now, I just have a mum outfit. So when I'm out with my daughter, I just have a standard long sleeve high neck black t-shirt, and I have black tights on as well, and usually sneakers. And this gives me all the flexibility that I need to chase my daughter around in a comfortable manner. I literally have about 6 or 7 sets of this mum uniform that I wear every day when I'm not working. For my work, I ended up purchasing a uniform, and I just wear that now for work. And denim, I haven't bought any jeans for like maybe 6-7 years. The next thing that I don't buy, or don't buy a lot of, would be sunglasses. I have 3 pairs of sunglasses at the moment. One pair is from Dior. I don't even know where it is now, because I've stopped wearing it since I've had my daughter, because she was grabbing my sunglasses and hyperextending them. So I kind of put it away. I will go and look for it at some stage when I know that they're safe to use. And then there's 2 pairs of sunglasses that I have. One is from Humps Optics, and the other one is from Key Australia. And Humps Optics and Key Australia are not sort of luxury brand sunglasses, but there are some of us who have a sunglasses collection. They might have 10 or something like that, and they might have like a whole case for their sunglasses. And certainly if that's your thing, more power to you. That's not a big deal. I predominantly need sunglasses that have polarized lenses, because when I drive to work, I am driving in the direction of the sun. So I do need polarized lenses. And the other issue is, I guess, there are a lot of luxury houses that make sunglasses without polarized lenses. So that's another limiting factor. I mentioned my Dior sunglasses, and those lenses are not polarized. And of course, I frequently do misplace my sunglasses. Next thing is coffee and lunches. So years ago, I think prior to 2020, I was not so good with this aspect, I would say. That was my luxury back then. I loved eating out, and I loved buying coffee, and I would do this for lunch as well as dinner. So I would say that was an expensive pleasure. It was my bestie that persuaded me that I was spending too much money. Hi, bestie. So since 2020, that was part of my financial diet. And given the number of things that I don't buy already, at that stage in my life, I was also assessing to see where I can save money. And I decided that I could cut out my bought lunches as well as my bought coffee. So since then, I packed lunch to work every day, and I also pack my coffee to work. And it's not that I don't buy lunch or coffee ever. I only do it once in a while, and I actually enjoy that system. I appreciate the bought lunch and the bought coffee because, you know, it's more of a novelty. Next thing is souvenirs. I have not bought souvenirs for so many years. Since phones have had cameras on them, I've decided, well, I don't actually need to buy any souvenirs. I can just take photos of them. I'm really sorry if you're a souvenir seller. There is a story time that I do have. I shared it in this video over here, but I'm just going to tell you again. So there was a time when I was in Portugal, and I was walking through the Portuguese markets, and, you know, obviously it's very touristy, and I found these tea towels, Portuguese tea towels, that were going for €5. So I thought instead of purchasing it, you know, right at the start of the market where I first saw them, I'm just gonna keep browsing through the market to see if there's anything else that I preferred over these tea towels. But if it turned out that I couldn't find anything else to buy as a souvenir from Portugal, I would allow myself to buy these tea towels. As I was walking through these markets, I saw these tea towels, the same ones, getting cheaper and cheaper as you got deeper in. And finally I got to the end of the market and the tea towels were going for €1. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna buy this €1 tea towel. But as I was holding it before I went to pay, I thought about it. I'm like, now have a look at it. Do you really like this tea towel? Because if you don't really like this tea towel, you technically would have paid €1 for it. You would have to then carry it back to your hotel, pack it, lug it all the way from Portugal back to Australia, and then find a storage spot for it amongst all your tea towels, and you actually don't have space for that. Are you sure you really want to buy this tea towel? So after that little voice in my head gave me a lecture, I left that tea towel. And it's not that I don't ever buy souvenirs, I'm just, you know, very selective. Technology can be so expensive. And people have a go at luxury lovers buying luxury handbags, but luxury handbags, sure, there's a trend, but the item still exists and functions as it was promised the first day we bought it. Technology deteriorates and it becomes obsolete and you get new software that doesn't function with the new one. So like technology is one of the things that I try and resist as much as I can. Sure, I am on YouTube, I have a microphone, a filming light, I use a phone to film. This is one of my older phones that I saved, and then laptops. So I only really upgrade my laptop when I need to, but I am so unwilling when the time comes to upgrading my technology. One of my friends was saying that she brought her MacBook, I think, to an Apple store to get it fixed or something like that, and it was 7 years old. And the store told her that that model was obsolete. Mind-boggling. So there's the thing about technology that really bugs me. Sure, it helps us do things, but at the same time, I think there is a lot of waste. Next one is a slightly random one, fabric softener. Do we really need fabric softener? The next thing is earrings, and one of the reasons for that is pretty simple. Firstly, I do think I have too many already, and at the same time I feel like it's not that easy to actually wear earrings anymore because there are still places that we go to where we have to wear masks, and when we do that and we try and take the mask off or adjust the mask or whatever it is, it gets hooked on to the earrings and I find it really annoying. Yeah, most of the time when I'm out I don't really wear earrings anymore. Sure, I wear them for videos, but really that's about it. So the next thing that I don't spend on or hardly spend any money on is my hair. I cut my own hair. I don't know if it looks okay. I know I botched up the last haircut, but you know, I know how to fix it. I'm just waiting for it to grow out a little bit and then I will fix it again. I also color my own hair because I don't know, I find when I ask someone else to do it for me, it doesn't ever turn out the way I want it to. And I'm not saying that I can do an amazing job, but it is acceptable enough for me and it saves me so much time because I absolutely hate sitting at a hairdresser's chair for so many hours. Like my bottom starts to hurt and I get so fidgety and agitated. So my hair, I do it all myself. Sure, I buy products to maintain it. Along with hair, also nails. You'll see that I only ever have natural nails. Sometimes I grow them out and I tend to just cut them and file them down if they start chipping, but I'm so lazy with my nails. I could not sit at a salon. Like no, and I really hate it when they push back the cuticles. Ow! Now, the next one is going to be controversial, but I'm just gonna put it out there to say that this does help. I only have one child. I have one daughter. I don't intend on having any more children. Not that I foresee anyway. And the thing is, if you have more children, it will be more expensive. I think that's a natural fact. I don't have to expand on it. One thing I will say is I try to be quite thrifty when it comes to spending on my daughter. Her school uniforms, all of them are either hand-me-downs or pre-loved. Sure, if I can't get a certain piece in her size, then yeah, I will have to buy it new. But as much as possible, I go to the pre-loved section of her school uniform shop. As long as it's in reasonable condition, I don't see why she can't rewear pre-loved school uniforms. And it's the same thing for toys that I purchase for her. I try really, really hard not to buy lots and lots of toys for her. We are members of a toy library. I know you don't have toy libraries in US, but in Australia, if you live in Australia, all you have to do is Google toy library and look for a toy library that is in your area, and you can go and borrow so many toys. My annual membership is something like $44, and you can borrow 10 to 15 toys at any one time. And once you return return them, you can go ahead and borrow new ones. So there are lots of ways to save on children. And if you didn't know, I do have a whole series of videos on tips for parents. And in this video over here, I shared my tips on how to save money with regards to children. Some parents may feel bad about being so cheap with their children, but actually what I do is with the money that I save on my daughter, I put it in either a coin bank, or if it's a large amount, for example, with her uniforms, I can save up to $400 per season. And what I do is I keep a record of them, and then my intention is when the time is appropriate and that reaches the minimum threshold, I'll open up a minor investment account for her, and I'm going to put that money into that minor investment account, and we can just let that money grow over the next how many years she wants, and when she's ready she can withdraw that money and spend it on things that she loves. See, guilt-free, cheap parent. Hello. Lots and lots of home decor. And I'm not saying I don't buy home decor, but I don't constantly change out my home decor. You see my filming sets, the decorations are kind of all the same. I don't change them around that much. I don't see the value in that. So things like throw pillows, throw blankets, redecorating every season as well. It's like, wow, it can be really expensive to change home decor according to season. That's just not something I appreciate. And also purchasing seasonal decorations like Christmas and Easter and Halloween. What I have done in the past is to go and purchase these items post-season, so they're heavily discounted, and then I reuse the same decorations year in, year out. Before my daughter was born, I in fact didn't buy any decorations. And only after my daughter was born, so that I can, create that celebrative effect for her in our home. Sure, I bought some decorations, but probably in the last 1 to 2 years, I haven't bought any more new decorations. Okay, next thing, plants. Plants are expensive, predominantly because I kill them, so I just have to keep replacing them. So I try as best as I can not to buy plants. The next one is controversial, but pets. I don't have any pets. Now, the primary reason I don't have furry pets is because I'm allergic. And I used to have pets when I was younger, but I wasn't the primary person who had to look after them. And the pets were mostly outdoors, so I wasn't exposed to their hair as much. In my adult life, when I've traveled overseas and lived in people's houses where their pets are indoors, I have fallen sick. And even after I've gotten back from that holiday, I've been sick for weeks. My symptoms have just continued to bother me for weeks. For me, I can't have any hairy pets in my house. It doesn't mean I can't have fish or snake, but they're just not the kind of pets that I enjoy. And, obviously pets are really expensive. You got to pay for their maintenance. They have grooming, pet insurance, and sometimes if they fall sick, their vet bills might be really high. And obviously you have to buy their food. Some people pay for doggy daycare or a dog walker. Other than the monetary cost of it, there's a time as well that, I'd have to spend on a pet, and that's opportunity cost. I also no longer go to the movies. That's purely because I don't have time. But I used to go when I was younger, because that was my form of entertainment. But yeah, I don't go to movies anymore. How much is it to go to a movie nowadays? I think it's like 45 Australian dollars per person when you buy a ticket, pay for parking, and buy like snacks. And that's the other thing. When I was younger and went to movies, I rarely bought snacks. And then kitchen gadgets. Oh, kitchen gadgets drive me absolutely crazy. Obviously, they can be really expensive. What are they? Like air fryers and Thermomix. I think air fryers you can get for really cheap at Kmart now. I just don't like pulling out a gadget and putting it on my kitchen counter, having to clean the whole gadget and then put it back. It's just so much trouble. I mean, I'm not a great cook anyway. I don't really cook, and I just manage with pots and pans, and I've got my oven and my rice cooker. I do have a blender. That's about it. I'm really so not a fan of kitchen gadgets. Sorry, I should say I do have a coffee machine because that's what I make my cheap homemade coffee with. Dryer sheets. The first time I heard about dryer sheets, I was like, what are they? And that's because I don't even own a dryer. I also don't buy high heels anymore because it's just not comfortable. Apps. I was so surprised when I once heard someone say, oh yeah, I paid for this app, it's just $4. And I'm like, I just couldn't comprehend it. I don't know. I guess again, it goes along the lines of the fact that I'm not super tech savvy. Yeah, I'm not that inclined towards technology. Even for free apps, sometimes I can be so unwilling to download them on my phone just because I just don't want so much stuff on my phone. I don't know, maybe I haven't found an app that will enhance my life so much. I am looking for a good budgeting app that does not crash. So if you can recommend one, please let me know. Books. I know that sounds really bad. I'm not such a good book reader, you know, I get really bored. I'm much more of a movement audio visual person, and that's why I do YouTube, and that's why I love watching YouTube buy books, and they take up so much space. So leading up to this point, I realized that the list was slightly haphazard and I could have categorized them, but I didn't. In any case, now I've decided that, well, there are actually a lot of luxury things that I don't buy, and that obviously helps a lot in terms of saving money and putting that money towards luxury handbags. So SLGs, I don't have a lot of SLGs, and I'm glad that I stopped myself quite early in terms of purchasing like lots of card holders or lots of coin purses and things like that. Mini pochettes, I do have too many mini pochettes, but I consider mini pochettes micro bags. I don't consider them SLGs. I also don't buy a lot of ready to wear. Sure, I do have a couple of scarves that are luxury scarves. I mean, I have one from Moschino, whether you consider that luxury or not, that's up to you. I do have an Hermes scarf, and I have some Hermes shoes as well. Next thing is twillies and bag charms. I mean like luxury silk scarves, because twillies is in reference to Hermes, but you know, there's Chanel, I don't know what Chanel calls them. Fendi calls them wrappies, Louis Vuitton calls them bandeaus, and Dior calls them mitzes. I don't buy any luxury ones. I have very sweaty hands, and I also wear a lot of sunscreen. And for me, these silk scarves are there to protect the handle. I'm not going to buy something extremely expensive that I will just ruin really quickly. And in order to clean them, I don't hand wash anything. I put everything in the washing machine. Bag charms as well, because there's not a lot of function other than aesthetics to a bag charm. So I don't see value in buying luxury bag charms. I don't mind non-luxury bag charms, but they just have to be reasonably priced, like definitely under 100 Australian dollars. I have also never bought a luxury car. Now, have I been tempted? Yes. My dream car as a younger person was the Audi TT. And then as I got older, I wanted a larger SUV. The one that I was looking at was the Porsche Macan, but that was going to be a very impractical decision given that I was going to be using it for the period of my daughter's newborn life. So I purchased a Japanese car, and my whole life I've only driven Japanese cars. At this stage in my life, I'm so pleased that I never purchased a luxury car. Moving forward, I know that I'm only going to be purchasing Japanese cars because they're reliable, they're cheap to maintain. And to be honest, now that I have a much better understanding of personal finance, I'm probably only going to be buying pre-loved Japanese cars. And along the same lines, I obviously don't pay for any car accessories. Now, the next one is a big one where I saved so much money, and that is Chanel. Sure, I do have a collection of Chanel handbags, but I picked them very specifically. You know, given all the Chanel price increases, I'm so glad I didn't waste any more time or money on Chanel. So I really have to say thank you to Chanel for helping me in this aspect. Coming up, I do have a video on all the Chanel bags that I did not buy. And if you're interested in that video, certainly subscribe, turn on notifications so that you'll be notified when that video is published. And if you have stuck with me this long, please leave me a fish emoji in the comment section below. After this, definitely go ahead and check out Pula's video. I've linked it in the description box below. And I'm going to tag a number of you to do this video as well if I know that you've got a YouTube channel. If you don't have a YouTube channel and you can't do this video, I would love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, I look forward to more ways of saving money, so please share your tips. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and hopefully I'll see you in one of my other videos. Bye!